Welcome to the Ladies Talk Show. This is your host, Leah Richheimer. We are on Chapter 9. This is the last class on Chapter 9, so listen up. We're going to read the end of the chapter, and we are talking about communication and how to connect deeply. You're not learning communication so that you can be a good person, although that might be the case. We're learning communication so you can have what is the deepest desire of every woman is to feel closer to a husband. We're on page 225. Ideas of what to think. Don't be in a rush. There is nothing else on the entire planet that is as important as sitting and listening to your husband speak, no matter what the subject. Attention. Number 2, attention. Just sit there and let your husband feel the pleasure of having your undivided attention. Some of my students report that it's often been such a long time since they did this that their husband gets practically gleeful. They also say that once he gets going, he can't seem to stop for weeks. That's likely because he has years of unspoken things to say, and once he is regularly listened to, the bottleneck subsides. But it just goes to show us that our husband has this need. It's just been squelched by society for far too long. Meaning the woman is the one who's doing all the talking. Okay, we're talking about listening to our husband. Number 3, sit still. Act like an empty sponge, thirsting for his every word. Showing your husband how precious his words are to you will mean the world to him. Train yourself to sit still and don't become agitated because he's taking so long to finish his point. More than anything else you could possibly do, listening to him with a full heart will create the desire in him to give to you. Number 4, don't expect lightning bolts of wisdom. Your husband may not say anything earth-shattering, important, interesting, novel, inspiring, or personal. You may be more succinct than he is, unimpressed with his thoughts, or he may even repeat a story he already told you. He may say something that he feels is deep and intimate, and in your eyes it seems trite. Your role is just to listen. This is not the time to judge him. It's a tremendous gift you are giving him just by listening. If you can give him this gift without any expectations or judgments, his heart will melt. Ideas for introspection. Too much talking. Whenever you are speaking with your husband, or anyone for that matter, it's always valuable to ask yourself, am I talking too much? A conversation should be a nice balance of talking and listening. But so often one person gets the lion's share. In the case of a teacher-student relationship or an advisor role, that may be appropriate. But for most of our relationships, an imbalance causes a distance to develop as the speaker loses touch with what is going on with the other person. And the listener feels like their thoughts aren't important to the speaker. Don't verbally ask if you are talking too much. It forces the listener to deny it, like, oh, no, it's okay. And then he feels even more distant since he has lied. But keep this in mind for yourself so that you can feel closer to people and learn about others' views of the world, which can often help you to live your life better, especially if it's your husband's views. Number 2, put yourself in his shoes. That means even when you're upset about something, really listen to his explanation. It means not rolling your eyes trying to dismiss what he's saying before he's even gotten the words out of his mouth. It means taking the time to really let him have his say, and even going so far as to ask, in a sincere tone, are you sure you said everything you wanted to say? Is there anything else you'd like to add? This patience on your part will not only make him feel deeply loved, but it is your best chance of getting that kind of treatment from him in the future as you model that behavior for him. Number 3, never yell. Yelling at each other is often a bad habit that a couple falls into and then finds it difficult to climb out of. If you and your husband have not yet trained yourself not to raise your voices when discussing important issues, this needs to be one of the greatest priorities of your life, as so much damage can come from hurtful words said when tensions mount. Yelling keeps a couple from finding solace in each other's company, something that is sorely needed in this day and age. Refraining from yelling is a learned skill, so get yourself a book or a mentor to train you on this as soon as possible. Life is too short to lose closeness simply because you lack a skill that can be mastered with a bit of education and practice. Okay, lastly, here we go. Ideas for planning ahead. Plan ahead. Structure your daily or weekly schedule so that you can squeeze in as many listening opportunities as possible. It should not be hard for you to gain your husband's attention. Right? It should not be hard for your husband to gain your attention. Listening to him more means more love coming your way. Number 2, positive experience. Try to make every listening session a positive experience. If every time he tries to tell you something, you put him or his ideas down or use it as an opportunity to complain, he will clam up and withhold sharing with you. The right tone is crucial, but takes quite some time to develop and requires constant upkeep. This work will be amply rewarded, as you will see. Number 3, practice being a journalist. Interview your husband. Pretend you are writing an article or that you're going to be tested on the material afterwards. So often we ask perfunctory questions just to be polite. If you take on the role of interviewer, you will quickly see just how fascinating your husband is about a topic you may never have even thought about. There is a gold mine in there, and the more you learn to extract the gold, the closer you will become. And more importantly, your husband will glow with the attention. Number 4, daven. Prayer that your conversations should bring you closer and for Hashem to give you the patience to listen instead of speak. We can do all the hishtadlus, put in every effort in the world, but if we don't daven for it, nothing may happen. May Hashem bless you in all of your efforts in communication. Woo! That was chapter 9, ladies. What you got for me, Gila?
Okay. Manucha asks, my husband is not very sensitive while I am the opposite. How can I teach him to speak kindly and sensitively so I can be more open to listening to him?
Mm-hmm. Wow. So, teaching your husband to be more kindly. That's a toughie. Anyone got any good ideas? Let's go. So the issue with this is that 99% of women are more sensitive than their husbands are. And their husbands, like, they say something, oh, I didn't like that food. She's like, ooh, and he's like, you're just far too sensitive. And he's mad at her for being sensitive. And she's mad at him for being harsh. Like, hello, this is how Hashem created the Bria. This is how he created men and women. You could have people who are, men who are more like women and women who are a lot more like men, whatever. So I'm not even going to get into that. I'm just going to say that when you have this disparity between sensitivity and harshness, and neither of you understands each other, it's a problem. So what you can do is you can go to your husband again at a quiet time. You both fed, you both eaten, you slept, you're well rested. Maybe good luck with that. But you're both in a reasonable, good mood. Decent mood. And you can say, I want to just mention something. I realize that, you think I'm too hypersensitive and that's annoying to you. And I feel like you're too harsh and that can be annoying to me. Maybe we can somehow meet in the middle a little bit. Like I'll try and be less sensitive when you say something harshly. Instead of saying, well, I'll say, that was a harsh that came across harsh to me. I'll try and be nicer about your harshness if you'll try and be more nice about my sensitivity. And when you say something and it hurts me, and you don't roll your eyes and go, oh, great, yeah, of course, whatever, that you say, oh, okay, I hear. So if both of us can step a little bit towards each other and be a little bit more understanding of how each other is, I'm going to work on it. I hope you would be, or you can even ask, would you be open to that, and see what he says. So it's a dialogue. And then once you've opened that dialogue, then when he's harsh the next time, you could, you don't say, see, I told you to be harsh, not to be harsh, and you were. No, that's not going to be, you wouldn't like it if he came to you. I told you not be so sensitive, whatever but if you come back to him and say, this happened to be one of those things. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to try and just let it water off a duck's back. But I just wanted to, wave a flag. Or you can say, how would you like me to do when you say something harsh and I reacting negatively, or triggers me, or it makes me feel bad? What do you want me to do? And just shut up. let him answer, and let him say, oh, well, just take it. Say, well, that doesn't feel right. Say, would it be okay if I pointed it out to you? Would it be okay if I said the word avocado? And that meant, that was like your key, not wink, wink, wink. That was your key word to realize that, to talk softer to me, or to rephrase it, or something like that, and just brainstorm ways. And if the two of you are coming from the right place and speaking from each other's heart and want to be closer, these things that, I've had experience. Couples have fought over stupid, things for 10 years. And then they have good communication about it, and it goes in a whole different direction. And I'll abide by you and everybody watching. Okay, what's the next question, Gila?
Okay, I don't always share when I get hurt because my husband gets defensive about everything. What can I say so my husband actually hears me instead of getting defensive?
It's a very good point. It really depends on if you're saying, why do you do that? Whatever. I assume you've tried different methods. I hope you've tried different methods of communicating in a way that he can hear. So let's say you're saying it absolutely perfectly and he is the defensive one. I guess it depends on what types of topics you're talking about. If you're talking about, what you're going to have for dinner, and you're arguing about that, or you're arguing about, where you're going for Pesach vacation, So it really depends. I don't know enough about the particular subject matter, but if your husband is a particularly defensive type of person, he gets defensive with everything, you can start with having conversations with him and say, I just want to talk about something kind of like, I'm going to talk a little bit about the forest rather than the trees. But every time I bring up a tree or I bring this up or whatever, I say I'm hurt about something or I'm upset about something or whatever, your reaction is always, defensive, like, no, and I didn't, and I, whatever. And I almost feel like I can't even share with you because when I do, somehow it's triggering you to feel badly or feel like it's your fault or something. I'm not quite sure how to do it. And maybe we need help. Maybe we need a third party. We need to go to a therapist or a rabbi or a rebbitzin, somebody who can help us figure out how to work it out. So I get the emotional support I need by sharing with you what's going on with me, but you don't have the burden of feeling like it's your fault or whatever. I'm not sure why you get defensive. Maybe we can think about that. Maybe we can talk about that. Do you know why you get defensive? Do you know why when I bring something, is it the way I'm saying it? Am I making you feel bad? Am I, expressing myself in a harsh manner? Did you grow up with somebody who was harsh with you? And so now anytime anyone talks about feelings, you go into that mode. Work with me here. I want to have good communication with you, and I want to help us and work on it. And I'll do whatever I can on my part to make our communication better without you being defensive. And I'm just hoping that we can figure out ways that might work. And if we can't, that you'd be willing to figure this out, because I think it's really important that I'm able to share my thoughts with you. So I just bundled in a half an hour conversation into standing on one foot in 30 seconds, but you get the point. You can take off from any of those tangents that I started going off. It's a very, very important and very good question. Okay, good. What else?
Okay, a lot of good points. So Elisheva asks, do you have any tips or tricks for us women when our body's hormones are out of whack, such as pregnancy or other times in the month, etc., and we feel irritable and easily say the wrong thing?
This is a lifelong challenge for every woman. And that is mastery over how you treat your husband. So it's like whatever's going on in your mind, there's this that you're upset about this thing happened. You had a horrible dream and you're just trying to get out of the quagmire of some dream. You had a kid who did this. You had the insurance company didn't pay for something they're supposed to pay for. And you're fighting with the guy and he was mean to you on top of it. And then somebody cut you off in driving. I mean, our whole internal world, it's like this big giant, puzzle jigsaw that's all just mushed up there. So that's how we are. What makes a difference between a mensch and somebody who's working towards being a mensch, okay, is that they have mastery over how they treat other people no matter what's going on inside of them. So you going up and down, whatever, you're frustrated, you're upset, you're not doing well, you're this, whatever it is that you're doing, and you're still, doing your being a mom or being a wife, you're still cooking, you're still doing the laundry. You don't go into these funks with whatever. You don't snap at people because something, your boss said something to you, so now you kick the dog. That's self-mastery. It's a lifelong process we're all working on, because we're all at the effect of our moods and all of the effect of outside, what's going on in the outside world. You see this gedolim, and it's like no matter what goes on outside of them, they're just close to Hashem 24/7, and it is mind boggling. And that's what we should all aspire to be. So the tips would be to understand that it's a process, that you're on a ladder, from here to there. And, we all have the gap between where we are and where we want to be. And we can't kick ourselves for being here. We're growing towards going there. We're all, the question is if you're going up the ladder or down the ladder. So you want to always be growing, not kick yourself, and just try harder. Just when you find yourself, you've had this miserable day and your husband comes in and said, "Did you pay the bill?" And you just want to bonk him over the head. Okay, got it. I get it. And what you say is, "I didn't, that probably wasn't the best time to ask me that. Let's talk about it tomorrow," or something like that. Or you have a keyword for him when he brings something up that when you're in a bad mood, or you say, I always say this is pretty simple, straightforward example, but this makes it crystal clear. You wake up and you had a miserable night and you're exhausted. You didn't get enough sleep and you stressed out about 10 different things. And you wake up, and because of it, you ignore your husband, you bang doors, you yell at the kids, that's being at the effect of the outside circumstances. Alternatively, you have all these stresses, you didn't get a good night's sleep, you're absolutely exhausted, and you wake up and you see your husband and he banged the door and woke you up and whatever, and you say, "I had a pretty rough night, I'm in a pretty bad mood, maybe I need some more space this morning than normal." I mean, look, if you do that every day, good luck having a close relationship. But I'm just saying, if you were, the difference between being at the effect of all of the outside circumstances and being able to say, I'm having a tough time, I just need a little space, that is a decision for closeness. We're going to get into that in the next chapter, so stay tuned.
Shandy says, "It's so hard to listen no matter what. Life gets in the way of that. Practically, what do I do when I need to get to work or the kids need picking up? I can't interrupt him. Help."
It's very good. You need to have clear boundaries. That's just it. Look, if a husband is never listened to, then when he gets a little inch, he'll take a mile. So if you have really good long stretches of time, he likes to go, I take a walk every afternoon, right? And you don't want to, that's the last thing you feel like doing. But guess what? That's individual time. I have somebody whose husband has to go everywhere on Motzi Shabbos. He drives there an hour there, and he's there for about 45 minutes and an hour back. She started sitting in the car with him. And I'm like, her sister said to her, "Are you crazy? That's a whole waste of your night." And she said, "It's our date." So she gets a whole hour with him there, 45 minutes, she brings a book, and then 45, and then an hour back. So it's making such a chunks of time for your husband to be able to listen to him, so that when it comes in the morning and you say, you've just listened to him Monday night for an hour, Tuesday night for 45 minutes, Wednesday night for an hour, and now it's Thursday morning, and he comes and says, "Oh, I have something I want to tell you." If you were to say to him on the heels of that, you were to say to him, "Right now I'm stressed, I got to get the kids to school," he's going to listen. Whereas if you never listen to him, he's going to feel, you're going to say that, right now isn't a good time. And he's going to feel a punch in the gut. He's going to feel like you don't love him, that you're never there for him, that he doesn't have a wife who cares about him. And he's going to feel totally bereft of you. And is that an expression, bereft of having you? I don't know what if it's a gerund or a participle, the grammar I probably got wrong. Anyway, the point is, if you are building this continuity of listening to him, you'll be able to set the boundaries in a much better way. Here's your homework for today, everybody. One time this week, do not yell. So your kid did something, your husband did something, you're about to go and freeze. And if you start yelling, "Why did, hold on, Lee, I've got a phone call." So, I need to use the restroom, run out of the room, whatever. Stop, freeze yourself either before you do it or while you are doing it, and stop yourself from yelling one time this week. And if you don't yell at all in your home, you get 5 gold stars and you have a vacation this week. No homework, okay? But for those of us, the majority of people who are working on being a non-yeller, because it really is the first thing that stops safety in the home. It makes the home not safe for the husband, for the wife, for the kids. It's not safe. If your husband's the one who's yelling, read books on how to deal with that. But right now, we're working on you, which is don't yell one time this week. Okay, thank you. This is Leah Richheimer. We'll see you next week. If you want more, we have so much more. If you want to learn our Masorah and have an awesome marriage, the first thing we have is a coaching program. If you are awesome with people and you want to know the Masorah better than 99% of the people on the planet Earth, like for reals, okay? It's a 4-month program. It's very intense. We have major scholarships, and we have somebody who's granted in a lot to pay for a big bulk of it. It's still a little expensive, but for what you get, and then you can start charging money to know it. That's the coaching program. Don't miss it. Go to www.ladiestalkshow.com. We do retreats. We do all kinds of stuff. You'll find it there. www.ladiestalkshow.com. Thanks for being with us. Leah Richheimer for the Ladies Talk Show.